we had so many players, Shea Facey, that was like in the team, and I was
Shay as
captain.
well. He was a captain
Yeah,
kind of leader type, you know.
that's what I'm saying, bro. And this guy put me as captain. I was like, wow. It was mad, man. But I have so much appreciation for that guy, man, because like he just always like not obviously looked out for all these players, but he had like I feel like he had a special place in his heart for me, kind of thing. That I just always wanted to work hard, man.
Let's go back and talk about the rise in Manchester. Obviously, you're from Manchester, born and bred. You know, I don't know if you want to speak about your team that you support or whatever, but how was it growing up in Manchester, seeing, you know, Manchester United just dominate, and then, you know, you're in the midst of it where, you know, you go to City. At the time, they never won a Prem, I think probably when you joined.
No,
And
yeah,
then you just see the takeover, all the players come in, and then you see like Man City become as big, you know, right now as Man United are, and obviously they're winning more trophies. Like, how was that to see all of that happen?
yeah, like in the city of Manchester, like obviously everyone knew who Manchester City was, but the footballing team was always United. Like, and growing up, that's all my family supported. Like United, United, United. I had a couple that was City, obviously, but it was just everything was United. And obviously, as soon as that takeover happened, you could see United fans kind of thing like they're coming back kind of thing here, because obviously this guy is a billionaire. So obviously money talks in football. So obviously once he took over, obviously they brought Robinho in, and then you see these stars coming in. Obviously United was still at that time at the top, so it didn't really affect him in the early stages. But now, like, bro, I think City, like as a club, I would have to say, like, I don't know what goes on in clubs around the world, but bro, the owners, the staff, the academy, everything, like the facilities, like I was speaking about before, you just have everything, bro. Like, it's crazy, and they can bring players in from anywhere. Like, wouldn't surprise if they get a player like Neymar soon, or you know what I'm saying, like someone like that, where
Crazy.
they can start elite level. And that Man City, bro, like at the time, like you just said, when it all, like when I was growing up in Manchester, it was like everything was United. It was Beckham, it was Scholes, it was Giggs, all the Ronaldos, and you know what I'm saying. So now it's different here. Like, it's everyone's speaking about City and how United are going to get back to anywhere near them, kind of thing, because there's levels right now.
Levels, bro. Like, what Man City are doing right now is just, it's terrifying. Even though they've had a blip season for them anyway, but it's still a great season. If you look at most Prem teams, you know, from 10 years ago, whatever, they would still be up there challenging for it. It's just they're competing against like one of the best teams right now. So
yeah, Liverpool are a force right now, bro. Like, Liverpool are silly, but
yeah,
like you said, City are a special team, man. Special right now.
cool. So we're gonna go into like this question round and call it Sleepers Football Edition. So we're basically just gonna ask you a few questions on, you know, things that you've experienced, your time in the game, you know, the best of, etc., etc. So who's the most underrated player nobody would guess that you've played with? So who's the one that you see, like, or maybe, you know, maybe people don't know him, he should get more recognition, etc. And, you know, you rate him highly, but maybe he just doesn't get the light shone upon him.
Yeah, I'd have to say John Fleck from Chef. Like, that guy is a magician, bro. Like, I've obviously, like I've just been speaking about, I've trained with some mad players, and that guy is, bro, technically, it's just like every day in training. And that's when I kind of judge a player, because training is like, you see him every day, and some of the things you can do. Like, a game can be sometimes high tempo, while you might just get lost in the game. It happens to all players, but John Fleck, like every game, he's always at it, and always at like a 8, 9 out of 10 every game, but he just doesn't get that recognition of, like, say Billy Sharp scores a goal, he's going to be in the paper tomorrow. Billy Sharp scores a goal for Sheffield, local hero, and things like that. But a lot of the lads say himself, John Fleck is the best player at the club, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah, me personally, I would have never of like seen that. So yeah, that's a good insight, man. So what's the stadium that you've played at where, you know, you didn't expect to either? You thought coming in, you know, this is like an atmosphere, man. It's jumping around here. Like maybe the pitch was a bit close, you know, to the fans or something like that, or you know, the atmosphere was just crazy and you just didn't think it.
Bro, Stamford Bridge Youth Cup final was sick. That was a good experience, man. Like,
Yeah.
obviously we lost the first game in it, so we kind of didn't think we had a chance. But Kelechi couldn't play the first game because he didn't have something sorted with his contract or something. Then he could play the second leg. So he come back, and obviously at the time he was like this talent that everyone knew. So when we had him up front, and obviously Chelsea had a team of like mad players, but we went into the game and like they had pure fans there. City brought pure fans. Just the experience was mad. And I'd have to say, like, probably when we was playing UEFA Youth League and we go away to like Roma and things like that, like it could. And we played there quarter final. I got sent off in the game. I got 2 yellows, I think, or it might have been straight red actually. And bro, like these fans were at me, bro, like saying mad stuff, get off the pitch, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you feel like you're in a proper atmosphere kind of thing, like flares before the game, like that. But yeah, like I'd say going away to them, like foreign countries, is difficult, man.
Yeah, 100%. So next question: who's the direct opponent you've played against? You probably kind of already answered it, but who's that direct opponent you played against? So, you know, you've been holding mid, or maybe you've played centre back one game, or maybe you played left back one game. Who's been that guy you've played against where, you know, he caused you like your worst day at the office?
Bro, I already have this answer, bro. I remember playing against Tammy Abraham, obviously he was at Chelsea, and then we played at, where did Chelsea play? Aldershot, is it?
Yeah, Aldershot, yeah.
Yeah, so we were in that Aldershot, bro. This guy won every header against me. Bro, I couldn't get near him, bro. And obviously, like, I'm a small centre half, like I'm not one of them. I'm not Toes and I'm not where like he's a big guy. And obviously, I'm a ball playing centre half, and this guy was like into feet, bro. The next minute he's running in behind. Next minute he's winning headers. That guy was big problems, bro. Like, I always say, whenever someone says that, obviously now he's getting the recognition he deserves. I always knew it, bro. I knew it was coming because he has too much to like not get to that level for me. And obviously, you'll probably know him yourself. Like, bro, he's a problem. Yeah. He's tall, quick. He's technically very good.
I saw him when he used to play on the wing, man. Like, he used to play on the wing, and he's just a lanky winger. Like, but the feet was just mad.
Bro, it's mad, bro, how good his feet are for a big guy.
Bro. For a big guy, yeah. It's like a spider, man. It's scary, yeah.
Well, man.
Exactly, yeah. That's exactly who he is, man. Exactly who he is. Yeah. So, who's a coach who's meant the most to you?
Patrick Vieira, bro. When I was, how old was I? I was 17. The guy put me captain of the EDS, bro. Like, he put a lot of trust in me, and obviously,
17.
EDS is like, it's a good level, man. Like, there's some very good players across the country, like Chelsea, Arsenal, United, wherever. And I was captain, and obviously my own changing room was a lot older than me. We had like, remember Pozo, the striker, the Spanish guy, Madrid.
Yeah.
Had him, Marcos Lopez, Mateus Bossarts. We had so many players, Shea Facey, that was like in the team, and I was
Shea
captain.
As well. He was a captain, kind of leader type, you know.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And this guy put me as captain. I was like, wow. It was mad, man. But I have so much appreciation for that guy, man, because like he just always like not obviously looked out for all these players, but he had like, I feel like he had a special place in his heart for me, kind of thing. I just always wanted to work hard, man.
That's good, man. Good to hear. So next question. What's a thing? Actually, last question. What's a thing about footballers or just football in general that people from the outside, they're in a bit of delusion about? So maybe it's like, footballers they're not nice people. Or maybe it's just like footballers don't care. Or maybe it's like, football is easy. Like, what is the delusion that you hear a lot from the outside that is just not true? And it gets misconstrued.
I think there's so many examples, bro. Like, everyone just sees 3 o'clock on a Saturday, bro, or like 7:45 on a Tuesday, and think it's just like you walk out to the pitch, you play a game of football, you go home. But there's so much more to that, bro. Like, we've been playing football since we was kids, and when you get to that point where you sign your deal, I think that's when everything changes, because then like you're paying bills, you have cars to pay for, your family a lot of players have family that kind of put pressure on them to bring money back to the household kind of thing. So, and that was kind of, I didn't have that pressure from my family, but we're not from like a privileged kind of background, you know what I'm saying? So when I kind of got my first deal, that was when I could move my mum out of the area, when I could do things. So like people don't see them pressures. Like I was 17 at the time, but like 17 buying my mum a house.
Got to be a big man. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And like some people don't do that the whole lifetime, never mind at 17. So for me, people don't see that. People just see like, oh, he's got this new car, he's got this, he's got that, and then watch me on a game day. But there's so much more that goes into it, like so much hard work. And like, for example, when you was asking me the question, the first person I think about is Sterling, because he gets so much bad criticism or like press about what goes on. But bro, I can guarantee you now he does probably more charity work than the majority of players in the Premier League, and probably gives back to his community more than more players in the Premier League. And I just don't feel like when the bad things get like straight in the papers, the good things, they don't go in the papers, they don't go in the news, they don't get known worldwide to people and made publicly. So I just think sometimes you just have to like, there's just so much more that goes on in football, bro, than 3 o'clock on 7:45 on a Tuesday, man.
Yeah, man. Obviously, you had an incident with a couple of, people you grew up with, your mates and stuff, and that was a whole big thing to do with Raheem, and obviously tossing newspapers and stuff like that. Yeah, that's so true. Like I feel like people have this perception of footballers that it's so easy and blah blah blah, but there's a lot of work that goes into it, and also you chose this kind of pathway for yourself and you stayed dedicated while maybe your friends, they were doing other things, staying after school. And
like some people don't, like when you get to that point, people only see you from that point. Do you know what I'm saying? So if I'm playing, let's say for example, I was playing the Premier League at the top level next week, and people only see me at that point. They don't see the point of being at Bury when I was injured for 5 months and like times were hard, man. Like they only see that side. Whereas I think there's so much more to like the game and like the downside you had to go through to get to where you are in football or in life, bro.
Yeah, man. Just is what it is, but just need to keep moving forward, man, and kind of shifting. So I'm trying to do, man, try to shift people's mindsets a bit, and let them see a bit inside of what goes on. But yeah, man, I won't keep any more of your time, man. I appreciate you coming on. Wish I could have spoke to you longer, but there's always next time.
Always good to speak to you, bro.
Yeah, I like doing it as well when, say for example, I haven't spoken to somebody in a while, so it's like I'm catching up with them.
It's been good to catch up, bro. We had good times at England, man. It was very good time.
100%, man.
Good to speak to you, bro.
Yeah, Footy 258 signing out. Kean Bryan here. Check it out.
For more content like this, like, share, and subscribe.